David Stevens is the Director of Estates, Facilities and Capital Development at East London's NHS Foundation Trust. He is also Vice Chairman of the CIBSE Facilities Management Group. We spoke to David about his career highlights and personal aims, and his passion for diversity and inclusion within the industry. Please introduce yourself and your current role.
So, hello, I'm David Stevens. I'm a Chartered Engineer and I'm Vice Chair of the CIBSE Facilities Management Group. I'm also a board member and trustee of CIBSE, and when I'm not volunteering in the facilities management arena, I'm a Director of Estates, Facilities and Capital Development for an NHS trust in London. So I started my engineering career as an apprentice electrician at the age of 16, and even that wasn't an easy stepping stone because I wasn't academically gifted in any way, shape or form at school, and I didn't enjoy school, so I didn't leave with any decent grades in GCSE. So the first thing I had to do was go back to school and take my GCSEs in English and maths. And as soon as I was out of the school environment, I realised that I enjoyed studying and academics. So having spent my first year on a building site without a roof in the middle of winter, I discovered that perhaps being an electrician wasn't purely for me. And I was very conscious of the people walking around in the suits and the ties and the shiny hard hats. And I decided that that's perhaps a career I wanted to pursue. So I moved off the building sites quite quickly, did my design qualifications and worked as a design technician, becoming a project manager. I then took the step to give up work completely and go to university, where I thoroughly enjoyed the university life. Did a couple of engineering degrees and then went straight back in to working as a designer and a project manager. From there, that got me into the facilities and the operational side. I was always keen to see how the engineering solutions that I was designing were being used. And I got that first opportunity at the University of Warwick, where I started doing my first steps into facilities management. That then led me on to UCL, where originally I started as an external consultant and left 9 years later as a director. A personal highlight for me was becoming a chartered engineer. So having left school with no qualifications, an inability to get a grasp on maths, to then study maths at university as part of an engineering degree, and then to become chartered. So I'd been an engineering technician, which is a registered professional engineering grade, but chartered is the top. And to get that is the validation from your peers and those around you that you're competent and you know what you're doing and you've got that validation. And it also then enables you to consider other things, or it did for me. Once you've got that chartered, once you've got that professional status, you can then look at other things knowing that you can always come back to this. And I think for whatever part of the facilities industry we work in, we should always strive for that personal and professional development with any institution. So currently IWFM doesn't have a chartership. I'm sure that I know that they're working on that to develop, and if you get that opportunity, I think people should take it. We should always strive for membership of institutions wherever we can, so that we're part of that club. We're able to influence it from the inside, and that's what I've been able to do with CIBSE, and I get a lot of good enjoyment out of the volunteer work that I do within the industry.
You are the Vice Chair of the CIBSE's Facilities Management Group. Can you tell us about what this group's aims are?
So the CIBSE-FM group is one of the groups under the Chartered Institution of Building Services Engineers, a registered professional engineering institute in the UK. And it exists to support and help those engineers that work within the operational arena by setting standards and providing guiding notes about best practice, and more importantly, ensuring that buildings operate as that they're intended and improving building performance. And we exist not just for those members within CIBSE, but those members in IWFM and other institutions who aren't necessarily represented by experienced technical engineers. So we provide that guidance and assistance. So we've just finished our work on the new commissioning management guide, which is a collaborative document between CIBSE and the CSA, which is the Commissioning Specialists Association. And that's really good for two associations to get together and work on a document. And the key thing with commissioning, it's one of the things as part of construction that's often left to the very end. It does happen at the end of a construction process, but it needs to be thought of at the beginning. And how facilities managers and operational engineers interact with commissioning process is so important. Getting commissioning right, getting buildings to perform right and reducing that performance gap and therefore reducing energy wastage is one of the key things. So the FM group was really excited to work on that with CIBSE and the CSA. The other document that we're working on is our own guide. So Guide M for Engineering Management is in its third or fourth edition now, and we're due to release that at the end of the year. And that's focusing on engineering standards, engineering compliance, life cycle legislation such as the Building Safety Act, health and well-being, and is a further document to help those who work in engineering and those that don't operate their buildings better, to understand maintenance strategy. So it's a great document for designers, technical FMs, or soft FM experts to have that grounding and knowledge on what do I do next, how do I develop a maintenance strategy, what legislation impacts me as an FM, and what's the life cycle, what's the life period of my engineering assets.
You are a champion of diversity and inclusivity within engineering and FM. What does a truly inclusive workplace in our sector look like for you?
Organisations should be really representative of the communities that they serve. Everybody should be able to feel to be their true selves at work, whether they choose to or not. And not everybody wants to be out at work, and not everybody wants to blur the lines between work and home life. But a lot of people do, and more importantly, you should be able to if you wish to do so, and you should be comfortable to do so. So you should be able to see senior people in your organisation that reflect your beliefs, your background, and how you operate. And that's so important, and this is what diversity is about at all levels of an organisation. So that you can be yourself, so that you are truly representative, and so that people can feel comfortable. People feeling comfortable work better for organisations. Organisations that work better are more successful. So therefore, diversity, inclusion and equality should be at the heart of everything we do.
How important is sustainability to the future of facilities management?
The facilities and the built environment industries and professions are one of the slowest professions to adopt and change. However, they have the greatest impact upon sustainability, carbon and energy use. Yes, there have been some changes in technology, but we haven't moved in the leaps and bounds that other industries have. It's been really difficult for us to achieve our net zero carbon commitments without that big scale change that we need. So facilities managers have the biggest part to play in this. They need to be engaged with the construction all the way through that process so that they have a real input into the designs and standards. They need to be engaged with commissioning, engaged with the handover of the building. So facilities managers are just not involved at the end of at the end of the process. And one of the things that I advocated is that all construction teams, all design teams should have facilities managers appointed to them. If that particular client doesn't have an FM within their employee, then they should consider appointing one to the design team. So you have that facilities and operational oversight in the entire design and construction process. And that's one of the ways that we're going to get our buildings performing better from an engineering and a soft FM perspective.